Let's face it, over-the-top anime transformations with not a single thing making any sense whatsoever is what we live for at this point. The adrenaline rush knows no boundaries when you've got a character screaming at the top of his lungs, while the studio makes sure he gets his time to shine and beat everyone else to a pulp. It's nothing new or strange by any means, with the whole setting being the bread and butter of almost every other action anime out there. With that being said, let's have a look at some of the best showcases of power in anime. 10. Alucard Unleashed Hellsing Ultimate. This vampire anime full of gore and blood is already a lot different from any other show that we've already witnessed. Put in a vampire as a protagonist who also happens to be a gunslinger and let the adrenaline skyrocket in this episode, where he just decides to let go of all the chains that have been keeping his potential, his bloodthirst, in check this entire time. Foes and adversaries in Hellsing Ultimate have always had this disturbing feeling, this eerie vibe to them that made us cheer for this Dracula as he butchered them in full swing, drilling holes in each and every one of them. But trust me, no one saw this form coming even from a mile away, given how he just isn't anything close to the vampire that we've fallen in love with this entire time. Overpowered to infinity already, this form is pure overkill, and with foes popping up here and there, Alucard sure has a lot of things that could satisfy his thirst for blood that he had for a while now. Slaughtering enemies in style and swag, Dante has some competition. 9. Madara vs. Everyone, Naruto Shippudden. We all can agree that ever since he was introduced, Madara was more than just a step ahead compared to any other character in the Naruto universe. The guy's presence had this thing that would strike fear into the hearts of almost any other soul out there in an instant. But with the anime deeming him a favorite and setting the stage for him pretty well in all of those episodes, it isn't a surprise that he managed to become the new star of the show ever since his face hit the screen. Badass looks and the ninjutsu to back that voice acting up. Madara was just a beast through and through. I'm pretty sure we all have these memorable moments that made the character grow up on us, but this scene right here takes the cake for sure. Shown from a mile away, not even being in the focus of the camera, the shinobi just dashed forward and started destroying every other ninja on the battlefield without breaking a sweat at all. Plus, he made it look so easy that it was so hard to keep up with the screen at times. Everything happening at God's speed from the get-go. I guess that this resolves the long argument once and for all for everyone out there. Eight. Don't underestimate Nagisa, Assassination Classroom. Let's be real here. One look at Nagisa, and as someone unknown to the series, it's hard to picture him as a male protagonist. I mean, we aren't the only ones having that difficulty with his own mates from the show. Class E, to be fair, making these jokes that make us feel like we aren't the only ones feeling that way about him. Not changing his look one bit the entire series, the guy sure takes to that accept and acknowledge me as I am to the heart, more than any other protagonist out there. But what he managed to do and pull off in the last few episodes of the first season still has us in a bit of disarray when we think back to the sequence, since no one expected him to have such a beast in slumber inside of him. All of a sudden transforming without actually morphing in any way at all. Being an assassin sure is hard, unless you're this blue-haired guy who seems to have been gifted with it all from the get-go. Those eyes that lust for killing. You can't deny that Nagisa is really terrifying once that switch is flipped. And with him using that in the next season as well, Koro-sensei and Karma won't be the only ones making our eyes go around the screen. 7. Hiei's Flame from Hell, Yu Hakusho. When it comes to Yu Hakusho, I'm pretty sure most of the fanbase would choose Hiei as their favorite character of all time, given how he's got it all, be it power, strength, or the aura. But if you weren't surprised by the guy using all kinds of tricks to overpower Yusuke in the first encounter, that first bout they had then, you're sure in for a huge surprise when the tournament arc kicks in. With all kinds of yokai there to party and have more than just a piece of these humans, the victor wasn't set in stone, and if Team Urameshi was to put an end to everything and be the ones turning out on top, they had to work for it. But when you've got Hiei, is there anything there to even worry about? Bringing the flames straight from hell while the 90s animation gives us an old school version of an anime character tearing his clothes off the weirdest way possible. The dragon from hell wasn't one any of us were happy to see, and with a mere shadow being what was left behind of the person struck with it, calling it an overkill just doesn't quite cut it in this case if I'm being honest here. Yu Hakusho has its fair share of characters being overpowered and displaying these skills that take everyone's breath away. But this one right here takes the cake for almost all of us out there. 6. This is a Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Ball Z. When it comes to transformations, I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball beats every other show by a long shot, given it has the most characters having the most transformations any other anime has featured in a single show. But when you've got Goku giving a speech, even if it's just him recapping about how strong he's gotten over the years, that yelling is about to give birth to something super good, since that's the sequence that the anime has been following since the good old Dragon Ball days, no? Boo sure didn't see that coming, since what seemed to be a saiyan having a panic attack actually turned out them growing long blonde hair all of a sudden, only to pummel the other person to the ground using this newly acquired power that not even the legends have spoken anything of. That lightning, those transitions, everything was done so well for an anime from the last century, and that being one of, if not the most iconic transformation Goku has gifted us with. It's safe to say that this very sequence ranks pretty high even when you're considering Dragon Ball as a whole. Crisp, cool, and breathtaking through and through. That exchange of punches and kicks only managed to make it all the more special, since that's what Dragon Ball is all about, nah? 5. A Levi we never thought we'd be seeing in our life. Attack on Titan, No Regrets OVA. Levi Ackerman, a name that's enough to make thousands of Titans make a run for it in an instant. Throughout the different seasons of Attack on Titan, we've seen the captain's rage more than just a few times now, and with no other Titan other than Zeke, aka the Beast Titan, stayed alive to tell the tale of his gear. Calling him the strongest soldier humanity has up its sleeve in this Titan warfare wouldn't be an understatement by any means. But who exactly is this Levi Ackerman? What are his origins? To everyone's surprise here, Attack on Titan actually dropped a couple of OVA episodes a couple of years ago where we get to see the captain during his young years in a desolated place that's different from the World Empire we've been seeing since the anime made its debut back in 2013. Making us see faces we know nothing about, it's almost strange to imagine that the hard-boiled captain has people he cares so deeply about, and with something happening to them, it's only a given that he'd go insane and slash anything and everything that moves, making you see just what happens when you truly piss the guy off, since all these other Titans don't even come close to making him phase one bit. Trust me, you'd want to see these episodes for their worth every second that they offer. 4. Mob 100% and Mob Psycho 100. This One Punch Man's long-lost brother is one hell of a kid, I tell you. From the outside, Mob is as normal as an average middle schooler can get. But it's a whole other story if you manage to make the guy lose his cool when that percentage hits the forbidden 100%. You're in a world of hurt and there's nothing saving you now. With the anime showing us this percentage not enough either, it's safe to assume that the guy has a power level enough to blast the screen to bits, if he wants to, if that makes sense. I mean, the guy is a professional psychic. What more do you expect? Blasting Koyama's face to the ground after making him have a close view of the clouds he's been seeing his entire life. Mob has had one hell of a journey during the 2 seasons that the show has put out as of now, with the 3rd one about to hit the screen soon enough. We haven't forgotten about the we saw the last season, since that truly marked the end of it all, with the meaning being displayed and portrayed in all its honesty. Imagine making an already overpowered character getting a power spike. You don't want to be the one standing in front of him the next instant, that's for sure. 3. Aizen versus everyone. Bleach. Now, I'm pretty sure not a single soul out there wasn't caught off guard by this plot twist of the century back in the day, cause one look at Aizen and writing him off as an average Joe would be something generations would do. But as if that reveal and illusion wasn't enough, the guy kept coming back, arc after arc, giving us a blink of his strong self, just to break free from the plot chains later on in the show when almost everyone has died. From taking on the captains one after another, some of the strongest that Soul Society has to offer, the guy didn't break a sweat and just went on a spree, taking out these powerhouses and pillars one after another like it was nothing. I'm pretty sure we all remember that scene as if it was yesterday, cause of that going hand in hand with his iconic character, and that magnificent voice acting only added more meaning to the hype that Aizen has had ever since he was first introduced as this bad guy siding with the wrong side, betraying his own kin. I mean, if that wasn't enough, we still have his bout, the final fight with Ichigo, as the main course for anyone starving for more after that scene, so yeah. We definitely got a lot more from where that came from in this case. 2. I don't care if this is the end. Gon Freecs, Hunter x Hunter.
なんだこれは
Who's Gon? I'm pretty sure we all had his image pop up right now, and seeing that smile sure lights up anyone's day in an instant. But there's always a limit when you cross that limit. Some of the brightest faces mask some of the wildest demons that one can imagine in existence. Neferpitou sure didn't calculate this happening, since after taking out Kite, Gon's rage was already enough to strike fear into the heart of this lady who made sure her legs didn't let her foes talk even for a second at times. But when it's revealed that Kite will never come back again, Gon's rage is something none of us could have anticipated no matter what. A form none of us expected. The all-grown-up Gon not giving a single hoot about what's been going on around him just shows how pissed he was at this aunt who ruined it all for him. Well, what followed sure was satisfying, since that rock, paper, scissors segment over and over again made Pito's face transform into something not even Miriam would recognize for days to come. The way his eyes lose their shine and the way he just jumps at her with everything he's got. This is for sure one of the most iconic scenes ever. 1. Gojo takes off his patch. Jujutsu Kaisen.
領域展開無料空所
With the movie already popping off and the season something we've binged more than just a couple of times already, Gojo has been the man since the very first episode. Being that smug while having the skills to back his character up, the way he fought reminded us of someone from the past, except that the guy just got a whole lot of new power-ups to make him even more godlike. But that's well and all, but you can't help but rank the iconic scene as the best the guy has brought to the screen so far, taking off that eye patch while making every other fan go crazy in a heartbeat at most. From the domain expansion to the dialogue, everything is executed to perfection, and with the animation studio MAPPA not holding anything back when it comes to censorship either, we still remember the scene to be something that made Jujutsu Kaisen hit a lot more eyes than it would have without it. It's just one off, if not the best scene the season has produced, and with the movie coming out soon enough, it's going to be a tough battle for that #1 spot.